is it doing that? Good evening. Good evening. I'm having a technical issue. My camera isn't focusing on me. I think it's focusing on my computer. I am out of focus. Is that an issue? I'm sure that with the internet connection you can't really notice. I know what I can do. Oh my goodness, I'm so smart. I can put my computer down. Is it focusing on me now? No. You naughty camera. Why? Focus on the face. Bet, 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 bet. Bet, 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 bet. Here. What to do? I hope all of you are fine on this beautiful evening. Welcome to live stream. Let me tell you, well, I'm looking at my camera app. Let me also tell you about how you do these live streams, how you do these talks. So basically, I'm going to speak through YouTube, and then you can ask me questions through Skype. My Skype address is Lisa Cairns 12. The link is in my name is my Skype address is in the box below. Sorry, that's what happens when you're doing multiple things. In the box below, and you can send me a friend request, and I should get it tonight. And if you want to speak with me, you need to have a headset with a microphone and good internet connection, and just put into Skype, I would like to call. And yeah, I feel like taking more calls tonight, so I'd really enjoy that if you call in. Pardon me, what else? Yeah, oh, you can write questions as well. I'm also will take written questions. Is there anything else? Oh yeah, if you want to come to an event that I'm doing, the next event that I'm doing is in Germany, northern Germany. I think it's the 29th of August to the 4th of September, and it's kind of between Hamburg and Berlin. And it's a Tantra and non-duality retreat. I'm not teaching the Tantra, I'm doing it with a friend of mine called Siddhartha, and he is teaching the Tantra, so half of it will be Tantra and half of it will be non-duality. Yes. And then the next retreat I'm doing is in October. That is the 18th till 30th, maybe, I forget. and that is in the south of Spain, and that's just non-duality. Although when I teach non-duality, I often do some like human stuff, because the group can sometimes have energies that need like wobbling out, like shaking out, like wobble, 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 wobble. Yes, that is all. Wobble, 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 wobble. I'm a very wobbly person. Wobble, 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 wobble. Yesterday I managed to spill 4 things in succession. Luckily it was all water-based and some like lemon stuff. Oh, and a coffee all over the sofa. I bought these sofas though that you can like wipe down. They're like micro something, and you like do it with, they're really amazing actually. You do it with alcohol and wipe it off. But also I'm a wobbly person on the skin as well. Wobble, wobble. I would be a good belly dancer. Wobble, 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 wobble. The more flesh that you have, like wobbly flesh you have, is better as a belly dancer, I think. I used to do belly dancing with this lady, and she was like very voluptuous, and it was just so amazing because like she used to be able to move her hips so that it's like her hips would be on one beat, and then it's like her skin or her voluptuousness would then hit on the next one. It was so amazing. It looks so sexy and beautiful. It's really beautiful. That's it. Okay. And then I like to do some silent sitting. I was giving introduction as to what we do here, and I like to do some silent sitting. So we'll just do some silent sitting for like 15-20 minutes, and then I will do the introduction. The title of the talk is very seductive. It's called How to Get What You Want. Who wouldn't click on that? Clickbait or what? Everyone's like, okay. So we just do some silent sitting now, and you are welcome to do it in whatever manner that you like. You can sit quietly and just let your mind wander onto things. You could do some form of meditation practice. You could do a practice where you're like doing the I am. I've taught you before the mindfulness of breathing, which is basically counting a breath to 10, and then when you get to 10, going back to 1 again. Yes. I'm just going to shut my door. The crickets are super loud. So good evening. What is the title of the talk again? How to get what you want. Okay. Well, first of all, you have to distinguish what it is that you want. Sometimes that is unknown. Like, what is it that you actually want? Pardon me. Oh, sorry. I forgot I was doing a live talk. Okay, sorry. Where was I? What is it you want? So first of all, you have to work out what it is you want. To really know what it is you want. Like, is it that you want $1 million? Or you want lots of success? Or that you want children, or a lover, or others, attention, friendship? What is it that you really want? Once you work this out, then you will realize what it is that you truly want, you always have. These are just superficial ones. And they're not bad. I'm not saying that you shouldn't want them or that that's not right. It's just they're more on the surface. And when you really go into what it is you want, what you want is freedom. And freedom is this moment. Freedom is what's happening right now. It's not something in time. And even all those other wants, really ultimately, the functioning of them is actually to come back to this moment in a way, not necessarily like, to say if you have a business, like you want it to be successful. So there's that momentum towards it. It's not like you want it to be unsuccessful and you want to earn money, but like when you think about it, success, really it's abstract. Like, so you've got this moment and you're working away at your business and you're doing your books or you're doing advertisement and you're imagining how to make it work, and then you imagine its success. And when you imagine its success, there's a vibration of positivity that happens. That's really beautiful. But really it's an imagination. And the imagination creates positive energy in your body. And if you're still seeking, then that vibration of positivity will relax you into this moment. So it'll actually give you a glimpse of this moment. So in a way, like everything is all mind-made. So you have this imagination of your success, and then the seeking stops, is halted, and then all that's left is this moment, because you're not trying to avoid this moment. You know, when you have positive feelings, you're not like, oh, let me get to the next moment. Oh, I don't like this, or I do like this. There is a relaxation, and this is why people get addicted to pleasure. Really what you want is to be present. It's just not you being present, because in presence you is precluded. There is no you. There is simply what's happening, and there isn't a border between who you are and the world. There is simply everything. So right now, you might think that you're sitting listening to someone talk, but this is a division that's happening in your mind that makes it feel like you're separate from the air, from the computer, from my face, from my voice, from the sofa behind me, the wall, the shutters, the window. You have never been separate. So inside your mind, there is a storyteller. And this storyteller has all types of stories. And it has such a profound effect on you. And throughout your life, the storyteller tells you a repetitive story of you. And it's affected by genetics, and then it's also affected by the life in which it experiences. And we take that storyteller, we take that person to be who we are. So the voice now says, move your hand, or I've just come into this room, or I don't like so-and-so, or this person down the pub yesterday was a real pain in the arse. And it chatters inside the body and it says, I have free will. And I choose to listen to Lisa. It's my choice. I choose to walk around this world. I choose to do things. I choose the clothes I buy. I choose the life I live. And it's always telling you stories. And we take that to be who we are. We take that as the actual chooser. That's somebody inside the body choosing, and that's somebody that's living a separate life from everything else that it's seeing. And the biggest story it tells itself is that it's my job to choose the correct path to happiness. It's my job to strive for happiness and to obtain happiness and to have a good and happy life. And it lives in this world of itself. And to me, that is a life of suffering, to believe that that is who you are and to live in that dimension. It can have lots of pleasures because when you think you've got your life right, then you're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And normally, what most people think is a good life is winning over others. So getting more money than others, having better children than others, having a more successful job than others, gathering more things than others. It's so incredibly fickle to believe that your success is dependent on the failings or successes of others, on what others are doing. We're very obsessed with in humanity with competition. It's done us well, and competition is fun, but it's got nothing to do with happiness at all. It's got nothing to do with peace of mind or to really knowing yourself. It's simply an activity. And that activity of success can create lots of pleasure, because if you do better than others, then you can keep repeating that story to yourself, and then you experience pleasure. You experience lots of positive sensations in the chakra, and then your mind is like, I'm happy. And it kind of creates a presence when there's lots of pleasure. But what happens if you suddenly lose? Because normally life isn't like constantly going uphill. Normally there is, I'm not laughing at anyone when I say this, but normally there is destruction. I'm laughing at our own stupidity as humanity to not counter that factor in. Normally there will be no destruction in my life, it will just be an uphill sail. Normally there is, and it tends to be that the more dramatically up, the more dramatically down. So what happens is, because the mind thinks in opposites, normally what happens is you have to battle the mind, because if you've been really successful, then the mind begins to fear losing that success, and it begins to get paranoid. If you look at like a lot of stories, and often they reflect this back, you get all your nuggets, and then you're trying to hold on to them. I mean, this is what we're always doing as humanity, is we're getting all these nuggets and then trying to hold on to them, shit on them, and then we can't, we're like, and then they roll out again, they roll out, and you can't get them to stay with you. And you're like, motherfucker, is it me? Am I cursed? Is it me that's done this? Why is this happening? No, it's my partner. It's because of my partner. They're doing this. It's because of my old best friend. It's because of my mother. It's because of my conditioning. It's because of the education system. And it creates a lot of like mental anxiety, because the mind is about solving problems. So in one way it's negative, it's like about solving problems. It's going into a situation and solving the problems in order for us to survive better. But when you're kind of telling yourself this constant story about how great your life is, or say if you've been really successful, how brilliant things are for you, and you're repeating this story internally of you and your success, then it's like some people even tell me that they get this like flashes of darkness coming. And the reason it is because your mind is focusing on that is your happiness. So then it's like the shadow comes and plays with you. And your mind begins to get out of control. And then normally, eventually, you get into this type of stuff, and then you think it's about controlling thinking. And it's not exactly controlling thinking. I mean, thinking, I think, is the source of separation. It's the detachment from thinking. Thinking is thinking. And at the moment, most people are having a love affair with their thinking. They're having this love fest of the stories they're telling themselves. And hate fest as well. Love and hate fest. And it's a detachment from that. It's seeing that thinking isn't who you are, that you're not a name, that you're not a title, that you're not a behavior, that you're not the money you have in your bank or the kids or any of these things. These are simply thoughts that are arising, and that right here, right now, there is a presence that's beyond that. There is a presence that's between that, that's inside of that. I always love that quote from her, which I've told you many times, about when she's talking to her lover about coming to find her, and she says to him, I loved you so much, the story of us became slower and slower. I loved you so much, I loved you so much, I began to read the story of us slower and slower until it got so slow that the spaces between each word was infinite. And this is where I reside now. I mean, it's beautiful. The spaces got so big, they were infinite, and this is where I reside now. From loving something so much. That's beautiful. So you see, it's sort of like, it's not the getting rid of the words, it's sort of in between and as the words, as the thoughts. It's when we start, it's like we got to get rid of thinking, and you got to explore thinking, and you got to tame the beast of thoughts for sure. But it's then seeing there's something so much beyond that, more beyond that. Who you are is a presence, and that presence is creating everything, and that presence isn't against you. But you have to learn the nature of what presence is. The presence isn't based in good or bad. The presence doesn't care about growth or destruction, about winning or losing, about being happy or sad. Presence is in love with itself as itself. It doesn't even know itself. It just is itself. It's experiencing itself. What we're always thinking about as humans is, what is good or bad? What can I get that's good or bad? What can I have? What's in it for me? The pleasurable sensations. Will this bring me lots of bliss or pleasure? And so that's what obviously the person and the thoughts are thinking about, because that's all they can think about. Woof! Woof! That's her get up, white bitch, and come and feed me. What do you think I do all day? Why do you think I look so beautiful all day? For you to not feed me? She's gone. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And it's kind of like a surrender, but in a way it's nobody's surrender. It's like really contradictory, because who would surrender? But it's like a surrender back into this moment. It's kind of on the human level, which is constructed by thought. So you could say like the thoughts or this energy of the human or the attachment to the human gives up, whatever it is. I mean, God knows. There is something that gives up trying to make your life work. Make your life work. You can't make your life work. On the human level, you can have better lives than other lives that can be more safe and secure lives, but really it's surrendering back to what you are. And then the mind is like, how do I do this? And it can't see the absolute contradictoriness of that question. I mean, maybe at some point it can when it listens to these talks enough, but it's such a contradiction, the idea that you, so this thought of you, has to go through time and do something in order to get to this moment. So it's kind of like, if we want to talk in the timeline, I can say that, yeah, sure, it seems like the person goes through this relaxation program or this deconstruction program. So, and that's quite a mysterious thing too, like this letting go of or your previous notions. Like all of your notions. So what the person does, the identified person, is it's always holding on to thoughts and belief systems. This is what makes it up. And these belief systems are like a habit of the body, and then this like entity, this energy of you holds on to them as if that is you. So it becomes very personal, the belief systems, if you believe in God. Or like I was thinking about, I don't know why I was thinking about this earlier, it's really ridiculous thing to be thinking about, but I was thinking over it. Maybe I've seen something where I think that prostitution should be legalized, but I also really understand why countries don't legalize it. And I don't really see prostitution as a good thing or a bad thing, but I see that more than likely it's not so good if it's illegal, because then the woman wouldn't have the safety and the security of the society. If it's legal, then the society will help protect them more. But anyway, even in that, so all of that idea, in the end, it's all bullshit. It's just an idea, but some people could take that idea so personally and be so against it or so for it. And I have a preference into the way my mind thinks, and so there's a preference there, but in the end it doesn't matter. Like, it's just a thought. And there isn't an inherent goodness or badness that you're going to find, even in murder. Like, even in these extreme circumstances, obviously our body has a preference, so I have a preference not to hang out with like murderers. It depends on why or the reason of them murdering. But yes, there might be a preference, but in the end, like, all judgment is suspended. Like, what is it that you're holding on to? Like, in non-duality, I see so many people holding on to belief systems. And even in non-duality, there's no belief system to hold on to. Like, what are you going to hold on to? Like, yes, there is no self, let's fight about it. There is a self, let's fight about it. This teacher's right, let's fight about it. It's all that's all identification. Like, the identification is trying to make itself solid, because ultimately it isn't something that exists. So if it holds on to these ideas, then it kind of forms an existence. Like, it seemingly makes something solid. Like, because if you're not holding on to any ideas, then who are you? If you're not even holding on to the idea of you, then who are you? What are you? Who is this illusory you? Oh, I realised I'm looking in the wrong thing. Looking into the light. There you are! And so the body has habits of the way it thinks. So I'm going to have a habit of being liberal. And that's mostly from being into this subject and being into the arts. You know, like, I studied arts at college and university. So it's going to be an open-mindedness. And just, the body has a habit of the way it produces thoughts. And then if you've got a mind that's really close-minded, like really like this is right and that is right, then that is a habit in a way, but it's also most probably accentuated by a person trying to be something very solid. Like a person trying to maintain an identity. It could be that there's no identity there and that there's really like solid ideas. In the end, who knows? But most of the time it comes from this illusion trying to be something. Like, who are you without ideas? Who are you without ideas? Like, if you drop the idea of being strong, being intelligent, being wise, being in spirituality, having money, and the idea, all ideas, if you drop it now, who are you? And then you might say your body, but that's even an idea appearing now. You can see hands and legs maybe, but you can see this room more than you can see that body. So you can see that more than likely the bodies begin to, as they get into the subject, their ideas begin to get really flexible. They challenge all their ideas. And that can be really painful, having your ideas challenged. It can be like trying to move a massive rock, like something that you believe in really profoundly, like goodness. I mean, that's, I think, what a lot of people get tumbled over on this subject is goodness or saving the planet. Like, this is very strong ideas. And in the end, they are beliefs like what, right here, right now, what planet is there? What world is there to save? And who is this you that needs to save the planet? Who is this you that needs to help people? There is a habit, so if you've got that predisposition, most probably you'll be set up to want to save the environment and save the world. But in the end, what is this idea of goodness? It all turns to dust in the end. And what does it really matter if humans survive or not? Humans, if they don't survive, then the self won't know itself. Of course humanity has to survive. Why? And it's all an idea, it's all very conceptual. You have right now, we don't even know there is a future. We only know it in thoughts that you've been taught and been indoctrinated in through this society. What happens when you really begin to break it down? Like, what does the world look like? The world might even change because more than likely the thoughts are creating this world. Quantum physics begins to suggest this, or suggests this, that the object isn't formed until it is observed. Isn't that crazy? Are we still going? I should really check. Yes, we are still going. Oh, that really tickled my lips. So what ideas can't you, like what ideas are you identified with? What really makes you run into time and try and run away from, like being bad? Do you hate the idea of people as seeing you as bad? That can create lots of seeking, like trying to always be good, the good person. Like, what happens if you become the bad person? Pourquoi? But what is it that you really need to hold on to? And that's the seeking energy. So it's not so much the habits and the ways in which the person is formed. It's the seeking energy that really holds on to it, that it really believes that if society believes you're bad, that that your life will be over, like it's the worst thing for you as an identity moving in time. Okay, we take some questions now. So if you'd like to call in, please say call me. I would really like to talk to people tonight. Like, not just reading their questions, but I'm happy to read people's questions. Hello, Isabel. Oh, thanks for the nice pictures. You always pick such beautiful colours. Loving Lisa dearly. I love you, Isabel. Hey, Carter. Hi, Jordan. Hi, Lisa. I'm aware that my energy is very heavy at the moment, so if my question is too much, just pass it. I recently have been made aware that investing security and happiness in an object, in a relationship, leads to suffering. Is it possible, while there is still this contracted sense of self in the body, to be free from those dynamics? I find myself again and again sabotaging my relationship by my attachments and dynamics that I wasn't aware of. Thank you. I think there can be separate selves that are more balanced in relationship and less balanced, and I think that there are separate, like, for different people, different things can be triggered. So you might pick relationships that really trigger a lot of your things and a lot of your dynamics, and then there's a sabotaging of the relationship. But whenever there is a strong investment in an object, that you believe that brings you happiness, that brings you security or freedom or happiness, like, there can be like the natural arising of those feelings. Like, you buy a dog because it helps you with security, so, or there's security in a relationship, but it's when there is this intense identification with it and a belief that brings you happiness, or brings you presence, whereas presence is presence. So you then, like, your triggers get triggered, and then you look to that relationship to try and sort it out. And then what happens is the other person then enacts that in the relationship as well. So it sometimes can become very hostile relationships, because you're both triggering each other's dynamics. So the key to it, like, all of us have dynamics and all of us have issues. Like, our bodies are grown in specific ways. So I'm grown by my parents and by my education system and my friends, and my body's got certain ways of doing things. So I'll have certain ways of conveying things, certain ways of talking about things, and you're never going to find this perfect, balanced person. Like, we all come with our juiciness, and it's balanced and not balanced, and all these different things. But the difficulty is when you believe that happiness is in that security, in that relationship, all of that gets exacerbated. So if you believe that freedom is in having like a pristine house, and then your partner doesn't keep the house pristine, so there might be an underlying tendency to be tidy because that's the way you were brought up and there's a preference for that, but your partner might be really messy. And then if you believe that is your freedom, that you can only be free when the house is tidy, then there's going to be like tension between you two. So then you think, okay, this partner's not right. I have to have a partner that is always clean and always tidy. But then that partner doesn't excite you so much, or whatever it is. But again, it's this belief that at some point you're going to arrive. You as a separate person are going to arrive in something. Whereas you're always here, in the shit, in the mess, in the bog. You're always here, and this is your freedom. So you can go to a psychologist and you can learn about your dynamics and learn about how to integrate them better in relationships. That, I think, all of us should do. All of us should tidy our cage and try to be as integrated with other humans as we can be. I mean, but at the same time, I'm not attached to the idea, but it's only fair to your neighbours to try and be balanced, or try and see your own shit, rather than keep spraying on everyone else like, everything is your fault. I'm going to erect a massive tower so I don't even have to look at my neighbours. And on this side, I'm going to plant killer plants to stop all your noise and all your shit and your smells. So I think that's only decentness. So you can learn, but really what you want ultimately is freedom. And freedom is this moment. Freedom is the feeling of the bum on the seat, is the light. It's what the person wants the least. The person always wants to be in time. It's like, yeah, off on my motorbike in time. I'm going to be an amazing human being. I'm going to soon become enlightened. That person's a motherfucker. And really your freedom is right here in this moment, in what's happening. Thanks, Jordan, for your question. Hi, Kate. Oh, thanks, Kate, for doing that. Hi, Nick. Hi, Dennis. Hi, Lisa. Isn't enlightenment the only thing that is really wanted? Dennis in Kentucky. Yes. Hi, Lisa. What would you say is the difference between free will and freedom? It seems that free will still has the idea of a doer, someone thinking they have it. Thanks. But that's all in thoughts. Like, you can recondition the person to believe it doesn't have free will, but that's still in thoughts. There is the appearance of free will. But when you really recognize the self, you really recognize who you are, it's so obvious there is absolutely no free will. The life is simply happening and there's no you in there controlling the ship. But in thoughts, you can recondition yourself around free will, and I suspect that will really balance the person, because most people's thoughts gets very neurotic from the belief that they have free will, because it's a lie. And so therefore it drives the person crazy. I mean, ultimately in this moment, free will or not free will is actually a lie. But the problem with the idea of free will is that you believe that life is your choice and that you have responsibility. There is the appearance of responsibility. So I've got the appearance that I have to look after Khaleesi, and the appearance that I have to keep the house clean and pay all the bills and all that type of stuff. But ultimately you can only do what the body does. You can only think to do things that the body thinks to do. Like, what is it recently that I just didn't think of it? Like something. Like, you can't think of the things that you can't think of to do. It was something that I did that was really stupid. But if you don't have those other thoughts, then that's what you do. Like, say if you're driving now and you are typing in your phone and like changing the navigation on your phone, and you crash into someone, you kill them, your body has to take the responsibility of that, and you have to go to jail. And I'm sure there will be like sadness in you. That's the appropriate response for taking someone else's life, from doing something as silly as typing into your navigation, and you will receive the punishment for that. However, just let me take a drink for dramatic effect. I couldn't think of the word. However, when you really understand the working of this life, then you'll see that you couldn't have done it any other way. And you can take the punishment of people calling you selfish for doing that and saying that you shouldn't have done that. And it is selfish. It's a selfish act the body does when it plays with its navigation in the car. That is a selfish act to do. It's selfish. Yeah. But that's karma. Like I've done that. I'm sure many people have done that, like pressed the phone or done something or pressed the radio. But that you can't do it any other way. So the body is selfish and you take the consequences for that, but understanding free will decreases a lot of the mental aggravation, because you can't go around beating yourself up for the next 40 years of your life because you know so deeply that it couldn't have been any other way. Our society does this all the time. Like like reading the newspapers and magazines, like the blame and all the like throwing tomatoes at each other. It's really a power game. It's all about trying to be the most powerful, trying to look the best and be the goodest, the kindest, just to look good, just to win a power game, really. When you really understand it, you understand that you couldn't be any different. It doesn't mean that you have to hang out with people that are really unempathetic and really selfish and really narcissistic all the time. But even if you do, you couldn't have done it any differently. Even if you do keep returning to an absolute sociopath, you couldn't have done it any differently. It's the way it is. You're not in control of this. So really understanding that on the intellectual level and knowing it on the level beyond the intellect, like knowing it as experience itself, that decreases psychological turmoil. Like it's so much pressure on the human. We only ever get to see this moment, and the pressure on the human is that you only get to see this moment, but you have to make choices and you have to do things, and if you fuck it up in any way, then you are doomed to hell. Your life is going to be really bad. I mean, that's really like screwed up that we think like that. And it's just, it's not true. It's just a thought pattern that we've been indoctrinated by. Our society just pushes that on us because that's the way we've evolved, and it's not true. Because it serves survival, and now it serves survival most probably to go beyond that. But even the idea of survival is a concept. In a different society, at a different time, you wouldn't have that idea of survival. Thanks, Dennis, from Kentucky. I think that's the end of your question. Hi Anik, dear Lisa, I noticed that even though presence is experience, and I know it to be what I am, mine wants to go on processing feelings, aligning with the truth, working at relaxation. And through that, it continuously avoiding what it will already hear. Much love, Anik. It's okay though. If that's what's happening, that's what's happening. It's always, I mean, like the mind, the thoughts are always going to be trying to improve. So it like jumps on the bandwagon of this enlightenment stuff. Somebody's cooking something smelling good. Thanks for your question. No, I called you Anik again. It's not Anik, it is Annika. Sorry, Anik. Sorry, Annika. Satosh. Hi, Satosh. Hi, Lisa. Again, a question on karma. If karma is not paying back, then what is meant by karmic debt? They say that on enlightenment, your karmic debts get speed up. Can you say something on that? Thank you. I don't know about that. The karmic debts get speeded up. I don't know what that means. I mean, I could have a stab at it, but I don't know what it means in the first place, that your karmic debts get speeded up. I see all of us having karma, enlightened or not enlightened. When you become enlightened, all karma disappears in a way. But not in time. In time, there's always karma, but it disappears because there's only presence. And karma is an idea, karma is a thought. Thank you, Santosh, for your question. Hi, Beth. Oh, hi, Beth. Hi, Petra. If anyone would like to call in, please say. I would be delighted to talk to someone. Happy Sunday, Lisa. Happy Sunday to you, Thomas. Sure, call me. I would like to talk. Okay. Dennis Fletcher. It's going to be a shock because you're behind me, so you don't know that I'm going to call you. Maybe it's catching up. Maybe you now know. Oh no, I didn't plug it in there anymore. Plug it in here. Oh no, he knows. Hey, Dennis. Yeah, I'm just changing my Can you hear me, Dennis?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you need to just. Yeah, I can hear you. I think you just need to turn off. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Speakers are in black. Let me just check to see. Could I just have you speaking?
Yes.
Cool.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, and it's going through the
Good
live
enough?
talk. Yeah, it's good enough.
I've got the headset in, but it's coming through the computer. But it's okay through the computer?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Okay. All right.
How are
Good.
you doing,
Cool.
Dennis? Nice to hear from you.
Yeah, good to see you and hear. Yeah. So I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
So like Eckhart Tolle, one of his chapters is devoted to inner body presence.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like a feeling person, so I was like started doing that, and that one feels pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like the search is always like what practice or that type of thing, and that one seems to work, but it's not always. And then the question you answered to the one person about the mind, how it kind of attacks us and those feelings, and your response was, that's okay, right? How,
Yeah. Yeah. Carry on.
oh. So I mean, for me, it's like the search is like what practice and what's effective and what can I be able to like do all the time or close to all the time, or you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I think that. I mean, a practice that I did was staying in the I am, which in a way is most probably like inner body. What you describe Eckhart Tolle is talking about.
Yeah.
It's just bringing your attention back to what's actually happening, and you have all these sensations in the body. So they're always present, more than likely. Sometimes you can go really deep and the body disappears and all the sensations disappear, but more than likely there is the sensation, there's the cool breeze on the hands, there is the sights, there is the heartbeat, the feelings, the emotions. And I think this is a really good practice. I think it's a really beautiful practice. But all the ideas that there is a you that's practicing, that's a you that's going to get somewhere, there's a you that's going to get enlightened, there's a you that wants to get enlightened, is all bullshit. It's all mind activity. It doesn't mean that you have to not do the practice. It's just that it's all mind activity, that there is a you going in time that's going to get enlightened. Because say if you take that practice now and you put your attention really deeply in the body, where is this you that's going to get it or not? You can see in a way that when you begin to think, is it a right practice or isn't it a right practice, or should I do it or shouldn't I do it, it's all going into time and it's all an avoidance of the actual practice itself. It all means nothing. Because it's all a story about you going somewhere. And where is this you going to go to? It's been learning about enlightenment, so it believes it's going to go to enlightenment, but who is it that's going to make it to enlightenment? Who is this you that believes it exists? There is this moment, and this moment is present and aware of itself. There isn't a somebody that's present and aware of itself. There's a storyteller that's functioning, that's coming and going and telling you a story about your life, and that's okay. You don't have to stop that, but it's not truth, what it's saying, and it's not you. And that's the assumption all the time, is that storyteller is me, and I'm on a mission to arrive somewhere, but where are you going to arrive to?
Right. So, yeah, so are you kind of saying, like, even though you're doing that, also be aware that that narrator isn't
Yeah.
real, or
Yeah, well, I'm even going deeper than that, because who would even be aware of that? Again, that would be another thought that says, like, okay, be aware that that narrator isn't real, but who is being aware of that? That would be another abstraction of the mind, which is okay. You can do that, and you can be aware that it's not real, but it's also going even deeper than that and seeing that too as thought. And what is it that's beyond all thought? And then you're left with presence. So you're kind of left what Eckhart Tolle's like telling you to practice as being present, but you're kind of left with that when you really see that the mind isn't you, that you're beyond the mind. And it's not even a you seeing it, because who would see it?
oh, yeah. So are you suggesting anything, kind of?
Um, I'm suggesting that if that works for you, that practice, I think it's really healthy for the body mind to do these types of things, because I think that there's too much investment into thinking in the human day-to-day living. But I'm also suggesting that there's something beyond all of that.
Yeah, and I think he describes that pretty well. Kind of like you
Yeah,
said, you get to a point where maybe you don't even know the body's there. The
yeah,
the the purpose of it is to take the power back away from the
yeah,
mind or something along those lines
yeah,
to reside in the body. Kind of
yeah.
like you talk about, like
And then
check
and
the
another
chakras.
another area that you can explore is that, you know, with everything comes opposite. So if you like doership, so if you like doing things, and if you like doing things towards enlightenment, then that will be a tendency of your mind, is that when there is a problem or when there is a situation, you want to do something to deal with it. And that is going to come with an opposite. So it's just looking at that feeling and that sensation and that experience that's arising. So other people, they might like fantasizing about things when they feel uncomfortable, or when they you might not even necessarily notice you're feeling uncomfortable. But so say if somebody's a bit bored at work or something, they might start fantasizing about what they're going to cook for dinner, or where they're going to go on holiday that year, or how much money they could earn if they did something else. And that induces pleasure in them when they do that, when they fantasize about that. And really, what they're doing is they're trying to avoid the opposite to what that induces, which is the fear of not being able to do anything. Like, who would you be if you lost that idea of you being able to do something to arrive somewhere? The feeling that accompanies doership is in the solar plexus, and the idea that you can do something. But just who would you be if you didn't have this polarity of doing things and not doing things? Because really it's all imagination, that there is a you that can or can't do things.
Yeah, I don't know that I enjoy doing practices. I just feel like I just feel like I mean there's of course the rational part is, you get beyond it, you
Yeah,
get beyond the insanity, and how do you do that?
yeah. But
Um,
maybe you enjoy the idea that there is a way beyond insanity. Like it's like so.
there's a path.
Yeah, and just noticing that, because the idea of you being left in insanity is maybe terrifying to you. It's just holding those both. ideas, like the idea of not being able to get yourself out of something. But notice
Yeah.
that you being stuck in something and you getting out of something is all in your imagination, and it's a habit of the body-mind mechanism, and it's a thought process which comes in and colors your world. It's not a reality.
Yeah.
Like either
Well,
one. So we're always going between these either ones, and it's okay because that's the way our body's conditioned. But it's just seeing that no idea, no thought is truth, or no feeling, because the feeling that comes with that is from the solar plexus,
uh,
and it's, like when you really feel into it, it's like a horrible, deathly feeling in the negative. And when you feel empowered and like you can do something, it's really like invigorating and a beautiful feeling. Just noticing that they're both illusions, all of it, the whole thing. And that really who you truly are is right here, right now, this moment. And this moment has no boundaries, this moment has no limitation, and this moment isn't being experienced by a thing, by a someone, by an idea, by a thought, by a position. It's experiencing itself as itself. Consciousness is in all things, and it is simultaneously no things.
yeah. So I mean, I guess you're kind of saying presence is
Yeah,
what it is,
yeah,
and he does really, he describes that. I mean, that's the name of
yeah.
his the
Yeah, I
power of
love
now.
Eckhart Tolle. Like I think I recommend him on my website, even if I haven't. I should do. I just forgotten.
Yeah.
Yeah, he speaks really beautifully about this subject. And I remember when I first started reading Eckhart Tolle, um, uh, like I got into Eckhart Tolle after being into Buddhism, and I remember like the first time I read his books, I thought it was so complex, like and really hard to read. And
Uh,
now when I now like my feeling towards it is it's really good for beginners. But even when I started reading it, I'd already been studying Buddhism for like 5 years, and I still found it hard, like the concepts. So it's really like, yeah, it's all perspective, isn't it? But it's not
is that
really for beginners. It's just a nice step into non-duality. Like he begins to talk about no self, but he talks about it in a much easier way than say I talk about it. So he talks about no self and consciousness and pain and pleasure and pain, the pain body. Like, and he puts it in more accessible ways than I do, I think.
yeah?
Like
Is it
to
is
most
it like
people.
hard to
For most
digest
people.
because the mind's fighting it? Like,
Sorry.
no, no.
What when I listen to it? I think it's mind's most probably fighting it, like the mind is in resistance. But I think also it's so different from what, um, or so different from what the society as a whole believes. Maybe now it's more acceptable. Like it was 20 years ago, I think, when he released that, and I read it like 2001 or something.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that society is very far away from those ideas. So it's so abstract. Like when I first learned Buddhism, I didn't even know that I thought in a way. I just thought my thoughts were real the way they were. So if I looked at someone and thought they're an angry person, I didn't really know that I was thinking. I thought that was fact. I thought, yeah, they're an angry person. That's the way it is. Like, and I
Yeah.
looked at a chair and I just thought the chair was a chair. I didn't really know that that was simply a thought that I'd stuck onto it. That concept was so abstract to me in the beginning. I remember
Yeah.
at university that one of my peers did a production about the fact that all things are no things, that things is simply a concept. And I remember it really being
Wow.
so profound at that time. Whereas now I've spoken and heard it so much, and maybe now society is more open to it, that we can comprehend those ideas a lot quicker. We can process it. We can say, okay, the floor isn't really a floor. The floor is something that we've named. A tree isn't really a tree. It's something we've named and we call it a tree. In actuality, it is not a thing. Like things
That's
are, yeah.
that's funny that here's your like um introduction to non-duality in a college course, huh? Kind
Yeah,
of.
yeah. Yeah, you're so lucky sometimes if you study the arts. Like if you get really open-minded teachers,
Oh yeah.
you can, yeah, that I had some really open-minded teachers and really pushed my thinking. I also had some really closed-minded people. Like I remember being in a course at university and they were talking about Madonna and everyone was really pro her. You know, I did performing arts, so there was like she was really popular at that time.
Huh.
And I remember saying to them, if she was fat, she wouldn't be famous. And they were
Huh.
so mortified. Like they were like, how dare you say that? And I remember like the whole class suddenly
Queen.
was hating on me. And so it also could be really closed-minded as well. But you could get some teachers that were so super open-minded. Like I didn't mean it against fat people, but I just meant that, like I just meant it in the sense that a lot of like popular singers at the time were popular because of the way they looked.
Right. And
Not they also she's got a real flair to her. There's great things that she does. Like I'm not saying that she's untalented, but I can't imagine if she was like really plump at that time it would have been acceptable. Now I think it's coming in, and you can get women that are really voluptuous, and they too also can be famous. Like that the lady that sings that really popular song. Yeah, da 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 da. Here, monkey, dance, monkey. You know that song?
I don't
I
know
forget
that
her.
one, but
Yeah, she's quite voluptuous. She's from Australia. She's not like really voluptuous, but she's quite voluptuous. And I just when she became really popular, I was like, yeah, that's super cool. Like, because when I was at university and when I was growing up, it was mostly very skinny women that could only very skinny women could represent women.
yeah, isn't that sad?
Yeah,
I know, it's just like I look at how women have to just do so many things and spend so much time just to be presentable to this stupid
yeah,
concept.
yeah.
Isn't it sad?
It is sad, but it is changing now. Like there's
Yeah.
because of YouTube and that the younger generations, I think, are really sick of it. I mean, maybe I'm
Really?
really out of touch. Actually, maybe that's not the way it is. Maybe actually the younger generations are really, really vain because of social media. Yeah, most probably they are. But I think there's a part of the younger generation that are really getting sick of it and like will reject companies or reject images that are only based on stick women. Like, so there's maybe a small percentage of the younger generation that are changing that, but that's still something.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks unhealthy, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that one. Um, 'Cause and here's a really good example. So I was kind of looking at it last week, and then when I went golfing, then I was really trying to practice that, and it helped immensely,
Yeah.
like incredibly. So there's evidence to it that, and he suggests that you try to at least give some attention to it all the time, because the concept is you you're creating separation from the mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
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 I think that's a great practice, but then like as you really go into it, you really begin to see like who is practicing,
yeah.
like and um, who would practice, and also like do you have the choice to do that or not? But it doesn't mean that you don't have to. You have to start saying, okay, I don't have the choice. I'm not going to do it. Like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's just you just begin to like all your ideas shatter more and more. That when you're really present, all of these ideas about you, doership, getting, arriving are only ideas. The really is just presence, and presence is no thing appearing as everything. It's experiencing itself, but
I like that.
itself isn't a thing.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate you like twisting it a little bit and giving me that perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who is that? Who's doing that? Who's there?
Who?
Oh, cool. So are you in France? Are
Yeah,
you
I'm in
back?
France.
Yeah.
Yeah, the borders
How
are
you
all
been
open
doing?
now. Hmm?
How have you been doing?
Yes, I've been doing very well. I had the lockdown in Germany, which is a very easy place to have lockdown.
Yeah.
Germany really didn't have much of a. I did have a lockdown, but it didn't feel very strong. Like the shops were shut and you had to stay away from people. But it felt compared to like other countries where you weren't even allowed to go out or you had to stay 100 meters to the house or something.
Wow.
Yeah, so yeah, I've been by the seaside in Germany, which was very pleasant. And now I've just arrived back in France a few these days ago, which is
Oh,
very
wow.
nice. Yeah.
Cool. I think this whole thing's been a good thing for people
Yeah. Yeah.
in the sense that they need to, look at themselves and appreciate and,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. And also most probably really good for the environment.
oh, yeah, yeah, very few planes
Yeah.
polluting and people polluting and yeah. Well, I so much appreciate you
Yeah.
sharing.
Thanks, Janet. It was really lovely speaking to you. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you have a wonderful rest of the evening.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
All right, you too.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
That was nice. Hi, Martin. Do you know Lizzo? She's a very plump and proud American musician and performer. I don't know if I know Lizzo. Dance monkey, dance monkey, dance monkey, dance, dance, dance. I can't remember it. I'm never very good at that. We used to play this with friends where you had to hum a song and your partner had to get it. You went in twos, and I would always be like, oh no. I can never really hum songs very well. I just answer this question and then I call you Vadios. Vadios, you said. Cool. If there is no you, then how does the idea of who you really are make any sense at all? Yes. Yes, that's very true because ideas are simply ideas. And you're right, like when you really disappear into this moment, it doesn't, like the idea of doership or no doership is all bullshit. The idea of you or no you is all bullshit. But in a way, you have to counteract the ideas. So you believe there is a you, so then therefore it's pointing to there is no you, because that belief in you is a constriction. And then when you really dive into this moment, they're both irrelevant. But the idea of you is not constricting you anymore. The same with doership. Thank you for your question. I really need a pee-pee, but I think I can make it 10 more minutes. Hello, Vadios. Hey,
Okay.
nice to see
Yeah,
you. Can I just
I'm
get you to
okay.
turn your video off just because my internet's not strong enough to
Yeah,
download it?
I'm on the phone. I'll
Yeah,
try to
you can
switch
just
back.
if you just down Skype, I think it will take off the video. Yeah, that's it, I think. Hello? Oh no. Hello.
The video was off.
No, it's still on. I can see you. You got your headset on and you're in your car.
Oh yeah, video. I thought Skype. Yes, I'm sorry.
There you go.
Yeah.
Danke.
Okay, it's been a long time no talk to.
Yeah, yeah, nice to hear from you.
Shall I go straight to the question?
Yeah, I'll go straight for the kill.
Yeah, I'm shy. So I'm kind of. It was a year ago on a retreat. A teacher gave me an advice to. What if you try to be spontaneous most of the time, and then the work is the most difficult place to be spontaneous. And kind of the story I live in my workplace is like I'm doing task and having plans what to do, and then a relationship with my colleagues. And there is energy. I'm simultaneously. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can.
Simultaneously working, and then and my colleagues and different energies, and then my boss. And when I talk to my boss, it's on an emotional level, it's total lies, and like I'm showing myself very clever and like I know everything, like I know more than I know, and he does. He is also playing a role, and uh, at the same time, little few friends. Like we live in the kind of live I live, and I get very tired of this emotional lies, and
It's actually not the emotional lies that are causing you unhappiness. What actually, it's just that your blame goes on that currently. What's actually causing you unhappiness is the belief that that's who you are, and this belief that freedom comes in time. Sometimes the body has to put up boundaries to people and put on acts like when I go someplace new and when I meet new people, I don't really show them my madness.
so the more right thing to do would be to express feelings, like take a break, like take a break when I speak to my boss, and then take time, and maybe
this might be a right thing to do to become more balanced and to become more integrated, but your actual freedom is this moment, this presence, is what's actually happening. So right now, you're imagining yourself with these problems. You're imagining yourself going through time. You're imagining yourself speaking to your boss and how you screwed that up and how you need to do it differently. And then there's some part of you that believes if you do that differently, that you'll one day arrive at something. But this isn't conscious, it's just held in your body. And then you've got these uncomfortable feelings that are happening, and you want to get rid of these uncomfortable feelings. And again, you believe it's because it's time bound. But nothing is time bound, it just appears like it's time bound. Right now, you're actually free, you're infinite. You're the sound of my voice, you're the room, you're the car that you're sat in, you're the space, you're the steering wheel. You're no thing appearing as everything, and everything is disappearing. There isn't this solid person that's come from the past and is sitting in this moment and is going into the future. It's just that you've got uncomfortable feelings, so you've got this story of yourself, so there's most probably discomfort in the heart, in the throat, in the solar plexus, maybe lower down as well. And through that discomfort, then a story is created in order to get rid of that discomfort, and you believe that by getting rid of that discomfort, even though you're not conscious of it, but you've got to get rid of this discomfort and that you'll arrive at something. Your freedom is right here, but you can see that there's an attachment to the story because everything is totally out of control if you surrender to this moment, if you give up that story of you and where you've been and where you're going and where you need to go.
Yeah. Well, the thing that you're pointing at is kind of you're pointing very straight to the death. Like there's nothing and nothing and nothing and
Nothing and nothing.
While I'm expecting some kind of a
something.
Like gently, gently expand your boundaries, like gently
Yeah,
push your boundaries, or like
yeah. Yeah, that's what most people want, is most people want a relaxation of themselves, but truly what you want is beyond that. But in the personal world, what you want is things to get better for you. And there is things that you can do to make things better for you. Is being more open and all these types of things, and being more honest. But at the end of the day, deception happens, and sometimes we have to do that. Like if I was truly myself in front of everyone, I'm sure it would be very shocking for them. Maybe it'd be very healing in front of some people, but it might scare people as well. Like truly, like myself as in like Lisa's character.
yeah.
It might also create a lot of aggro for me as well, like in the sense that like pointing out people's dynamics, or pointing out stuff to people, or like saying there is nobody there or something, might be like create a lot of anger from the other person.
It's kind of difficult to me, like to show me sad, or to point something in others, and yeah, just having the story of being myself as good, and living in the story.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
this
it's
is
good to an
like,
extent. To have a healthy ego is better than having an unhealthy ego. So try to recondition yourself to have a healthy ego is good. But where is that ego right now? Like, this is true non-duality. Is like, where is this person that needs to be healed? It doesn't even exist now.
I was
Huh?
expecting for this call, so I went like I was planning what to say, to call, not to call, and there were things happening all the time inside of me,
Yeah.
like dialogue, and like getting some answers, and
Yeah.
I called anyway. You called me anyway.
Yeah.
So much happened already.
Yeah. And then at the same time, it didn't, because we're just here. At the same time, nothing happened. Like, so it's just an imagination of all these things that happened. The mind's like, yeah, I fucking know that shit, Lisa, and it does nothing for me. Nothing. Yeah, that's right. It does nothing.
Well, what happens in my mind when this language of you, no, that was wrong to formulate. This your language of like there is no one here who is listening, who is talking, and sometimes it doesn't click to me, and
Yeah.
I maybe get a little bit angry.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really annoying in some ways. It sometimes also can be really beautiful to hear, and sometimes really funny, but it also can be really annoying.
And there is also many roles I play. Like I had a question, maybe I thought of the question. I very much wanted to talk to you, and there are several things that I called.
Yeah.
And I want to put my problem on someone. I want to be loved, and
Yeah.
But I was
and you are loved. Like that's what the person really wants, is being loved and being heard. And you are loved as yourself.
Probably wanted to say that I was.
Sorry?
I was doing quite okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I see the resonance with you.
Yeah. And there is this, like, so as yourself, as presence, like every aspect of the you, illusory or not illusory, whatever we want to call it, every aspect of you is absolutely loved beyond any human love. Like all your thoughts and your daydreams.
So bad English.
No, you don't. I have such respect for people that speak a second language now. It's so complex. Like you can learn the words, and then you've got to remember how to put it the right way around for that particular language. So how to put the words in the right order. So most European languages are always contradicting itself, and some have the nouns at the end, some have the verbs at the end. Like it's always, so I have such respect, and I think you speak very well.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you very much. And
with pleasure. It's lovely to hear from you. It has been
also,
a long time.
like you very much, and thank also people that listened.
Yeah. Nice. Lots of love to you. I'm sure I'll speak to you again soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Goodbye.
Bye. Nice. Okay, that brings us to the end. It is now 8 o'clock, and that is the end. Until next week. Yes, so thank you to everybody. And thank you to all the people that asked questions and the ones that called in and exposed themselves. What you didn't see is they were like opening up their pajamas like woof. So they really were exposing themselves. I'm joking. I'm not meaning to encourage, I'm just playing with the words. They didn't expose themselves like that. I meant emotionally expose themselves, you know. Yeah, so I wish you a beautiful day or evening, and yeah, thank you for everything. Couldn't think of what to say there, and I wish you everything. Good night. Lots of love. Bye. I always have to wait a little because it doesn't switch off properly.